The Kalamazoo Nature Center is a wonderful place to engage the mind, inspire the spirit, and really get you connected with nature.
Being a camper is what really put me on the path that I'm still on, which is learning about the world around me.
When you come out here and you experience it a while and you get involved with the place and the people, you're hooked.
Harriet Bartu and Lou Batts were bringing their college students out here to study botany, ornithology, and one time Dr. Batts saw a gravel truck come in on a road empty and leave full. Well, that panicked him. He was able to get the Civic Fund to step in, purchase the property because the Kalamazoo Nature Center had not been established. They also knew that any new organization would have to have the backing of the movers and shakers in this community. So they invited the individuals to meet and they presented their idea for a nature center.
This board includes many of your neighbors and friends who bring a wealth of experience in many professional and scientific fields. Their responsibilities are many, but their main concern is to make sure the Kalamazoo Nature Center keeps pace with the growing needs of the community.
We were all open to ideas, I think, and it was the blending of the various professionalism of the scientists that they didn't really have to convince the rest of us because we were enthused anyhow. But we learned a lot. That was the wonderful thing. We learned a lot going along with the development of the Nature Center.
I want to assure you that what has been proposed here has been thought out carefully from every aspect, educational, recreational, and financial.
You know, if we go back to the founders when they were first looking at what is the Nature Center going to become and knew that they wanted to protect Cooper's Glen. But when they began looking at what their plans were going to be for a facility to accommodate the school groups and the camp programs and the family programs, that they would need to have a building to operate out of.
The fund drive for the construction of the new building did not begin until about 1963. They felt we should have a state-of-the-art building for our headquarters. Alden B. Dow was selected as the architect.
We met out here at the top of this hill that I'm looking at right now, the top of where the parking lot is. And Dr. Batts looked at him with great pride and he said, "This is where we want to put the building." And little Alden B. Dow, who was about 5 feet 8 inches tall, looked at him, looked around the whole area, saw these trees way in the distance and up close, and he said, And then he started to walk. And he walked down this hill right here, down in the valley, which is below the bridge, and up the next little hill. And then he stopped. We all followed him as fast as possible. He didn't say a word, but he went quite fast. It was really fun. And he said, "Aha, this is where it belongs."
The incorporation papers had three principles. Research, education, and conservation are really the basis on which the programs were built.
And the Nature Center is really unusual among nature centers in having a strong research department over a long period of time. The length of time that we have done studies, so we have banded birds in the same general way in the same general areas for 40 years, 50 years almost. And those are very valuable studies.
Because without the research, there isn't any education. You know, that those two, they play with each other. So that's really pertinent to being able to move the education to the public.
The Kalamazoo Nature Center is unique among nature centers in that we have one of the largest land bases of all nature centers. We have 1,100 acres here, so that gives us a huge resource to use in our teaching programs and in our research programs. We're also protecting unique natural features on that 1,100 acres. The first program here was the camp program. And then soon blossomed beyond that to provide programming for school groups and for families. So those are, the heart, and have always been a part of the Nature Center and continue to be a very important part of the Nature Center.
Nature Day Camp provides a wonderful opportunity for children to get out into the outdoors and into a part of the outdoors that isn't totally manicured and arranged for human convenience.
Oh, I think that's an earwig. You caught an earwig.
Can I see?
How cool.
We hear a lot from kids about what kind of impact this place had on them. And part of it was because they were taking ownership in their own learning.
Pretty cool, right?
So that it wasn't just somebody dispensing information, but it was kids being given opportunities to learn on their own.
As a kid, down near the railroad tracks, there's some stinkweeds. If you bumble into that, you'll learn why it is they're called stinkweeds. They were there 50 years ago, they're there now. When you're near the ponds, you can in fact go right up into the pond and see if you can catch a tadpole. Those very simple physical experiences, a walk, a splash, a glance, show this constant that is the Nature Center. It's here, it's here.
You know, it was all part of Lou Batts's vision that this wasn't just about nature, but it was about the relationship of people to nature, and that people were all part of it. And that one of the ways you could be part of it is to have less impact on it. And that's where a lot of the sort of alternative, what were then referred to as alternative technologies, played an important role.
The Kalamazoo Nature Center has been involved in a green movement before the expression became known, because way back in the early days, in the 60s, we had the solar homestead, and we were encouraging people to use solar energy. We were showing people how to do organic gardening. And this is continuing. We have a series that we call the Green Living Series, and people have participated in workshops on how to raise chickens, how to raise bees, and these are all an effort to educate interested people in how to live more gently.
I think that was a part of this vision of the Nature Center that was always fluid, always open, and really looking for ways to get at these fundamental issues of how we as people are in the natural world.
We are constantly in a cycle of always looking at our programs, our facilities, and saying, how can we adapt and how can we use them to have the maximum impact on our society so that they'll understand their connection to nature and also then want to help protect nature and the environment around them.
The shorter term vision of that strategic plan is to refresh the Delano farm and to build a working farm where students can come see where food comes from. To rebuild the camp, to make it a little more modern. And one last large project, which is to refresh the preschool.
We do have some great plans to update the facilities at our preschool so that we are providing the very best updated programming and facilities for our community. And we're actually going to be expanding what we're providing so that we can do some preschool teacher training in cooperation with other preschools so that we can teach their teachers how to take kids and work with them in an outdoor setting.
Nature's Way Preschool is an environmentally based preschool. Oftentimes we'll do the whole day outside. So if we're going to learn about trees, we're going to take a walk in the woods, let them touch the bark, look at the different kinds of leaves. This current year we have a family that the mom went here and now her son is here. It's really wonderful to see those kids that were kids then coming back and bringing their own kids to Nature's Way.
Thank you, Sam. I got a battery too, that good. But mine is very small and yours is very big. Yeah.
The Kalamazoo Nature Center is a sanctuary.
People need places where they can see that there is something other than asphalt and mowed grass.
I grew up in the city of Detroit, and this is where I learned about nature.
This was the first place that I could call myself a naturalist. I was a young naturalist and a teen naturalist, and that's a term that I apply to myself and my staff professionally, but it's something I think you earn, and the Kalamazoo Nature Center provided me that opportunity to earn that title, and I couldn't be happier.
I remember one time, before we built the center itself, it was winter, and we were down by the stream in the beech maple woods, and so we had to get up this big hill. So I remember climbing this hill. There weren't many trails or anything, so we just walked up this hill in these great, marvelous beech and maple trees. And we came up here, and it was just sort of, well, I don't know, it was just sort of a moving experience to be part of that and know that eventually a lot of people would be able to enjoy it too.